Oh, we're getting that glare again today. All right, let me adjust my blinds real quick. I end up sitting here in the dark when I do that, but oh well. Hey, welcome to week 4. Can you believe it? It's week 4 already. Today we are going to make our project. We're going to make a charm bracelet. It's going to be a little different. We're going to use memory wire. We are going to use bead caps, and as you watched me for a while know, I'm not good at using my bead caps most of the time. And we're going to use a challenge bead, so we'll talk a little bit more about what that is. And we're designing it for a child, so that makes things extra interesting. So if you're out there, please say hello and let me know where you're coming in from. We're also I'm gonna go over a little bit. I did go to yesterday. I went to the first of the shows that opened at the Tucson Gem Show. Hey, Janelda. And I had it was a lot of fun going there. I saw, I ran into Candy Cooper. I had a nice conversation with her. It's the first time I've actually had a chance to talk with her. I have seen her in the past at gem shows, but briefly as she was running through. So it was kind of nice. She was, it was a nice quiet. It was just the two of us for a while. So that was a lot of fun. I also ran into Nina Kittleson. If you're familiar with Hole in the Wall Beads, it's a online Facebook business. She always gets some great deals and really interesting stuff. So it was fun to chat with her a little bit too. Observations from the show. You know, this was just one. I don't think there's any major changes in the kinds of stuff I was seeing. Obviously, prices have changed. I don't know, you know, the couple of vendors I went to, I don't know that the prices were significantly different from last year, but I think they import a lot of quantity ahead of time. So, you know, they weren't necessarily affected by the current tariffs and stuff, but they definitely, I went to, there's several at this show. I went to the Jogs show, which is the first one that opens out here. And the price of silver has made a lot of stuff crazy. Hey, Lorraine. I was in one place that I love to buy like sterling charms and beads, and I've bought a lot the last couple of years, which I still have, and I'm glad I did. But the sterling was triple the price of last year. So just know that if you're expecting to buy anything sterling silver these days, it's really gone up. It's at a record high. It's $100 an ounce. I remember when we thought $20 an ounce was expensive for silver. So I'm think I'm gonna hold on to my sterling silver stuff that I use to make jewelry for a little while. So, you know, the prices, I will say one trend that I kind of like, and I'm so, but is I saw a lot of mixed strands are in, mixed gemstone strands, which is great if you love the combination that they're doing. And sometimes you can find really beautiful combinations. Every once in a while I kind of look at them and I'm like, I don't know why they put those stones together on a string, but they do. But I have to say there were a lot of mixed strands. I'm trying to be good and not buy too many gemstones this time because, you know, I don't sell those. But my goal, remember this year, my goal, I always set a business goal, or at least a design goal, is to use more of my gemstones. So there is that. So but let me, I'll flip the camera over and I'll show you a couple of things I did find yesterday, and then we will dive into our project. And, you know, once again, if there's anything that somebody's particularly looking for, I'm happy to look for it while I'm out and about. You know, if you give me what you're looking for in a price range, I'll look for it, but no guarantees. that I'll be able to find it. Just a reminder, our sale does continue to run through the 16th of February. If you use our website, which is desert-cat-creations.square.site, you can put in a code. If you buy one item, you put New Year 26. You can only put in one coupon code. So if you buy 3 items and you put in New Year 26, you're only going to get 26% off, right? It only allows you use one coupon. If you buy 2 coupons, you can, or two items, any 2 items, you can get 30% off. And any 3 or more items, you get 35% off with bundle 35. And again, the 2 items was double fun. If you order directly from me, I will give you the discounts. And just a reminder on these 2 and 3 items, I did have to put a minimum dollar amount in there. So if you end up buying like our, a $6 item and a $10 item, it's not going to let you use this coupon. If that's what you want to do, come to me directly. And I also am looking at it. Unfortunately, I might have to raise my minimum shipping because the post office is raising shipping prices again. So anyways, I'm only going to raise, do it if I have to, but sending out a few packages, they are costing me more. But all right. So don't forget, we do have our new heart sun catcher kits. This one's I only have one of these left. This was last year's design. I love seeing everybody's interpretation on the blue kit. That is a lot of fun. And this blue just makes me happy. But I love everything blue and teal. And anyways, so you have to wait before you purchase. Oh yeah, the Navajo pearls. Okay, so let me show you. Like I bought this in the past, like last year. And so what they do is they're making things smaller. So like you might get this size, but I have to say the necklaces and just, and these are the machine made ones. They were quite a bit more than previous years. So anyways, all right. So again, if you're interested in heart kits, the pink one is $12. The other 2 are, or the 3 are $10. But I do have limited quantities. I did not find more hearts yesterday, but I'm hoping Sunday when I go to a different show that I will be able to find them. But a couple of my fun finds from yesterday. I thought these were pretty. So it's, they're butterflies. And I'm not really a butterfly person, but the color and the stone, how could I resist, right? I also got some that are pink. And then I found a place that had some carvings on sale. Now these are Chinese carved fetishes, but I only found one of these, but it was fun. It's a butterfly. It has, 2 holes so you can hook it on and make a pendant out of it. Actually, there's a hole all the way through. So, I thought these were kind of fun. They're actually globes, and they're very detailed. Just cheap little globes. But I thought, with traveling and stuff, that could be fun. And then it's the year of the horse, and they had a ton of carved horses. And I'm not a big horse person, but I just really like the horses. And this is the year of the fire horse, so I thought these, I believe this is red aventurine. It's what the stone is. I know it's aventurine. I'm pretty sure they call this one red and not orange, but I have a couple of pendant size ones. Got a couple of bears. Here's a green aventurine bear. Even found some turquoisey colored horses. Like I said, a lot of horses. So if anybody's interested, I went a little crazy on the horse beads. Have some speckled ones. I thought those were really cute. Like a palomino or something, right? See, I think this is more the orange aventurine, but it could be yellow. Anyways, if you want some horses, I will be happy to share with you what I have, so you can pick the color you'd like. I also found some little carved turtles in a couple different things. These ones are kind of interesting because the hole is sideways through the head, so they will hang this way, but you know, that's fun. And I found a couple of like hummingbirds in a couple different shades of stones. I got a couple pairs of green just because they had more of those. Anyways, I was excited because I'm always looking for fetish beads, and these are much nicer than some of the ones I found previously. Now, I'm sure they are all carved in China, though. They are not authentic. But anyways, I'm also willing to share some of the butterflies. I bought a couple of strands of the butterflies. And like I said, I bought them in this stone. I think the pink ones are probably cherry quartz. Looks like I need to clean that off a little. And then I think I bought a strand that's, I'm sure, magnesite. But anyways, those are some of my finds from the first day. And we'll see what we find this weekend. So, which does remind me, so Sunday I am going to go to one of the shows because it usually opens like today, like Thursday. And for some reason they're not opening till Saturday. And Saturday I have to go to a different show because I signed up for a metal clay class. And so I'm going to go take that. So Sunday I will be going to the gem shows. So I may just post my cards and skip doing a project this week, or I may decide to hop on late in the afternoon and draw my cards live and just show you some of the stuff I find. But stay tuned. But there will not be a live at noon on Sunday. That much I can tell you. All right, so this week we got to make a charm bracelet. And we have to use memory wire. So I got out my my smaller memory wire. This is the 2 1/4 diameter. So we've got that. We have to use bead caps or cones. You guys know I am terrible at using my bead caps, but I'm trying to be better. So I got out some little teeny ones. And the reason I got teeny ones out is because I had to make this for a child, so I don't want to use big chunky beads, okay? We have to use challenge bead in our design. So I pulled out the smallest challenge bead I could find, and it's kind of a barbell shaped. And these are just magnesite beads. Anyways, so that's my challenge bead. And if you remember, challenge beads are, you can get a bag of challenge beads, and this is just to up our thinking a little bit. So every bag is different. So I consider challenge beads kind of different shapes, different drills, different sizes, sometimes the big and chunky ones. I don't have anything super tiny in here because I don't consider tiny ones a big issue, but you know, like 2-hole beads sometimes can be challenging. So if anybody's interested in these, I think it's $12. You get the card and a bag of beads, and like I said, every bag is a little different. Right now, you know, some of them are similar because I made them all up at the same time, but you know, it's Valentine's Day, and I would consider hearts as one of those challenge beads, and hearts are still in. There were lots of different kinds of gemstone hearts. Candy was showing some this morning that she found, like mixed strands. I mean, there were definitely lots of different hearts, so they're still out. And I noticed last year there were a lot of hearts, so that's okay, because I think we need more love in this world right now. So anyways, and our final card was to design this for a child. So what I thought is I'm trying to make something kind of sweet. So I do have some metal heart beads. So since Valentine's Day is coming up anyways, then I thought I would use maybe some of the small multicolored mermaid beads or aurora beads, whatever. Kind of pulled those out because I thought they would be cute on there. I haven't double checked that they'll fit on the memory wire though, so remember we gotta do that. Then I just have some pink, I think this is dyed jade from that I got at Stars Beads at some point or another. This may have been on actually one of the Whatnot sales. All right. And then I've got some charms because we're making a charm bracelet. Oh, and I pulled out a couple of like clear hearts. So we may just use those instead of the metal hearts. And then I pulled out a series of charms. I actually think I'm not going to use that one, but so I thought, you know, most kids like animals, so I pulled out a couple of cat beads. I have this one that's a little person with a heart, a little teddy bear charm, and a howling dog charm. So we have some charms because we're making a charm bracelet, right? All right, so that's what we're working with today. I have some jump rings pulled out for my charms. Yeah, I think I'll pull out a couple of these metal hearts. Like I said, we'll just use them for some extra spacers so we're not putting too much too many beads right next to each other, right? But we'll see these. So some of my hearts are drilled long ways. Some of these metal hearts are drilled sideways. But let's, all right, I'm gonna move the cards out so it's not so busy in here. Get some, and we'll zoom in a little better once I lay some of this stuff out. I'll lay some bead caps out. And since this is a children's bracelet, like I said, I want to keep it fairly small. I don't know about you, but I keep getting my memory wire. So I may just make it a 2-strander. All right, so remember you should go past the center a little bit on either side so you can make your loop. So I'm just gonna trim that there. And you remember, always use your memory wire cutters because you can ruin your regular cutters. And then I am going to go ahead and do a loop on one end so that as I do this, my beads don't fall off. Now, you can get one of those specialty loopers for memory wire, but I think I'm going to actually use, well, no. I'm going to use my regular round nose pliers. And, you know, I am going to bend about a ½ inch back, and I'm doing that just so that my loop ends up, you know, not hanging down. All right. It is not a beautiful loop. Actually, I'm gonna can't remember which drawer. Oh, here's my my memory wire. So, you know, you can get perfect size loops if you use these, although I didn't use them to start with, so that's not going to work, but maybe we'll use it on the other side. I am going to use my extra rounding pliers just to make sure this curve, I can get that curved in really well. All right. So let's pull some beads off of I have to say, I saw there were still plenty of mermaid beads out there, but there seemed to be less styles of them this year. And you know, one of the things I've liked to buy in the past is they have rondelle shaped ones, which I did find a couple of strands of a really pretty blue. For the moment, we'll just all right, so let's make sure these should be fine, the 4mm. Yay. So I think I need the bigger beads for you know, I think we'll put the we'll add the charms. Yeah. Well, I want to put 2 charms on the end, so, and then 3 in the middle. Let me put these 2 on the ends because they're about the same size. So I think these middle ones, I'm going to go ahead and put a loop on them so I can string them on with the beads. So if you buy one of those memory wire loopers, I have to say be careful if you're using the heavy duty memory wire, because I managed to bend my bend the small looper. All right, now I'm trying to close these jump rings real well. And remember, we turn them sideways. Like there's a helicopter going over outside. and I'm twisting it, trying to push it tight. And then, like I said, I often use my fingers to tighten that. All right. So let's get the string in here. So I'm thinking just, you know, I'm gonna randomly put these small beads on here, and then maybe we'll use the bead caps with the bigger beads. That works. Now, if I had a full strand of pink in this size, I probably would have just used it, but I don't. So we're using the mixed strand. So Lorraine, are you getting more snow? I saw there's another nor'easter coming through. There were a lot of people that were having troubles getting to Tucson, but once they got here, it was fine. All right, so we've got some stuff there. I'm going to go ahead and slide. I am just sliding this right on there. And we'll see how long. We'll look at this again in a minute here, up close. I've not made a memory briar bracelet in a long time. Yeah, you're supposed to get more this Sunday. Okay. Well, I hope it's not too bad. I remember back east, though, about every like 7 to 10 years, we would get those back-to-back big storms. And then it just kind of goes away. It shuts everything down for a little while, and then it goes back. So, all right, we may end up having to shorten our bracelet if we get some more. Unless we want to adjust our bracelet charms. I'm going to go ahead and slide all these around just so we can see what it looks like. Oh, you know what? I hadn't put any of those little hearts I was going to put on. All right. All right, and I also can't forget we have to put our challenge bead on here. It's probably been a La Nina or whatever. Yeah, that's true. Memory wire size for children would be. So I think I'm going to change up my pattern here. Let's see what we've got here. See if I'm about halfway. Almost halfway. And I suppose you could all right, now I'm going to put my challenge bead on because we're at about the middle. And it's going to look funky, but you know what? That's what we did. So I think then I will start this pattern over. The challenge bead did make this a challenge, so. I am just putting these on here. So Janelle, you usually make stretch bracelets for kids, right? I've done that because, it's nice that because they, can fit for longer, but, the kids can break them. All right, let's put this guy on here. That's a clever idea. Yeah. That ring size stuff I find is hard to. You have to be real careful with it because it can actually be forced out of its shape fairly easily. All right, oh no, do I want to use? Oh, do this. I think I'm gonna have to get some more of these little 4mm guys. I kind of like this size for doing stuff a little different. I think we'll put this one on going the other way. And need some more is the problem with memory wire bracelets, is they take up a lot of beads, don't they? Especially when you are trying to keep them small and sweet, right? You know, I had heard that one of the design trends this year was that chunky was back, but I have to say there were still a lot of tinies at the show. But you know, I think there's always tinies are always needed because you can put them between things or by themselves, you know, because you can stack up a bunch of tiny bracelets. All right. I feel like I'm sort of never ending here, you know, just trying to pull this up when you're using tiny beads. So, you know, the biggest challenge with memory wire is getting it to the right length, and then also making sure that you have enough beads, because the beads just keep going, and that the beads fit on, because it has to be able to have a big enough hole to go handle the curvature of the wire. So I feel like I'm kind of at the end of my pattern, so I have an option here. Rather than put more on, I could go ahead and finish this off, which I'm thinking I might do. All right, so let's bend this back, and then remember we need about a ½ inch trim that. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use my rounding pliers. And you know, you just have to kind of fight with it until it gets closed up there. And this one's closed up there. All right, now I just want to, I'm going to put some those last two charms on the end. So let's get, now you could just dangle this directly from the memory wire, which actually maybe I will do that. All right. So I'm going to twist this slightly to the side and put that charm on there. And then I'm going to slide it back in and make sure that is closed so that it doesn't come off. And let's do the same thing with this one. Now I could have attached those with jump rings, but it just makes something else that can come off, right? right, let's look at this. What do you guys think? So we've got some charms. We've got our bead caps. We've got some hearts. We have our challenge bead. And I think we hit all the high points. Here, let me let's put it on. So you can kind of flip it around. You know, so a child that's probably 2 full wraps on my wrist. A little bit of a gap there, but there you go. See, you can make a charm bracelet using memory wire. And, you know, I like to actually, when I make memory wire bracelets, I always put charms on the ends, but, you know, just stringing them on in the middle. That was a quick and easy. All right. Do you like those crystal hearts, huh? You know, the challenge bead is a little different, but you know, it works, right? All right, there we go. We got our kids bracelet. You know, just remember, a child is somebody that's under 18, right? So, let's flip this. All right, woo! It really is. Maybe that helps a little. My glare in my glasses is way too much today. All right, that was our fun project. Yay! So we are done with week 4. We're on to week 5. So, like I said, I think I may just draw and post my cards for this week on Sunday since I'm going to the bead show. But I can't say for sure. I might actually pop on from the bead show or afterwards and just do my drawing then and let you guys know what I discovered and whether or not I found more crystal hearts, because you just never know. Since it's a gem show, obviously stones are the name of the game, but there are a lot of people that sell crystals and findings and stuff too. So I'm going to hopefully do some of that, and hopefully I will have more celebrity sightings for you guys, at least bead celebrity people. Oh, it was hilarious when I was the guy, after I was talking to Candy and she wandered off a little bit, one of the guys that worked there, he's like, "Oh, is she famous?" And I said, well, she has a very large following. She's been doing this for years on Facebook. So yeah, she's kind of famous in the bead and jewelry world, you know. So, but it was kind of cute because she shops from that vendor all the time. So, but obviously the owner knows. That doesn't mean the other people working at the booth know who anybody is. But it was cute. So clearly I wasn't famous, but so, at least I got a chance to say hello. Yeah, in the past I've seen like Jill McKay. I talked to her. I've run into Neely many times, but he's usually Neely, as you might expect if you watched any of his shows. Neely from Silver Silk, he kind of he's very focused and he's moving around quickly, so it's you kind of feel like you're interrupting his flow if you try to say anything to him. So I haven't actually talked to him, even though I've seen him multiple years in a row, but we'll see. Maybe this year, if I see him again, I will. Hoping one of these days I'm going to run into, like the soft flex people. But I tend to, like, they tend to be wandering around in the, like the casino shows while I'm taking my class. So I tend to miss a lot of people because of that. My classes interfere with when they're at the shows, but you never know. It's a new year, right? So, it's possible that I will run into more people, but I'll let you know. And like I said, just don't plan on anything at noon on Sunday, but like I said, I may pop on later in the day, or I may just post my cards depending on how worn out I'm. Because, you know, when you're wandering around looking at beads and trying to get around all the people, it's tiring. So, okay, I was wondering when she was coming out. Yeah, I was hoping I would run into her, Janelda. Sunday, huh? Okay. Well, I will be, obviously I won't see her on Sunday. Monday, I will be back at the casino, so I don't know which shows she's planning on going to. You know, it's not a huge shopping show, but some of the vendors have moved there from some of the other places just because they like the crowds there. So who knows? Hopefully I will run into a few of those people. I keep looking for those of you, I don't know if, hey Marianica, those of you that know Julie Peterson, she and I've talked a few times about running into each other, and we never do because, like I said, I kind of feel like I'm usually a day off from when most people are at the shows. So that's why this year I decided to jump in at the beginning. And, you know, and there are things that sell out the first day. So you do miss out on some of the things if you're not there. But anyways, as always, thanks again for all the likes and follows. If you haven't already, please like and follow us at Desert Cat Creations on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to us on YouTube. And I appreciate I am getting a few more subscribers and followers. I'm very excited about that. Also, if you haven't taken advantage of our sale, right now all of our cards, bead mixes, and kits are up to 35% off. You buy more, save more. So at a minimum, you get 26% off your purchase, and if you buy more, you get up to 35% off your purchase. So if you're interested in anything, have any questions, always feel free to direct message me. I think the email is also available and definitely on the YouTube side. And I'm happy to help you, you know, if you're not sure where to start, get you started. And if you're interested in continuing your Tucson vibe, don't forget about our Desert Southwest combination, where you get the Western Metal Mix, the Desert Blooms. Sometimes I call it the Desert Blooms Mix, sometimes I call it the Cactus Blooms Mix, but either way, our Blooms Mix, which is crystals that are inspired by all the blooms that the cactuses do here in the Southwest. And we have our cards that go along with that, so you can extend your Tucson vibe right now if you're interested in any of that stuff. So, all right. I will see you guys all definitely next Thursday, but possibly later on Sunday. All right. Have a great day. Bye.